The TMJ-TMD conundrum is real and has been puzzling the dental and medical professions for decades. This is the TMJ-TMD Demystified podcast with Dr. Tony Urbanek, where we'll connect the dots between TMD symptoms and the actual cause. We'll tackle common TMD misconceptions and educate you, the practitioner, about a simple, tested, and proven TMD solution that has already provided relief to thousands of patients, while helping practitioners build an additional source of income free from insurance control. Welcome to this episode of the TMJ-TMD Demystified podcast.
Welcome, TMD warriors. We are here for the next episode of TMD Demystified, and I am Tony Urbanek. Today's topic, I gain no extra pleasure in discussing this, as you will note as we go through it. The title of today is a continuation of our fact-checking regarding certain aspects of TMD, TMJ. The title is Fact-Checking TMD and OSA. We can even call it Fact-Checking Revisited, because a previous episode I did, and I just looked it up, episode number 172, which I'll make reference to in a little bit, was on the same topic. But today, Fact-Checking TMD and OSA Part 7, Discovery of Why TMD Gurus, we can define TMD Gurus for you, promote the relationship between OSA and TMD, and whether or not this is factually correct. Spoiler alert, it is not factually correct. It is not factually correct, and I'm going to discuss that. And it's not my opinion. It is fact, although there are growing numbers of what I refer to, and I will defend it, TMD gurus who use smoke and mirrors and nonsense and throw things at the wall to see if they can stick and defend their positions, primarily using unsupported, quote, unscientific studies and word salad descriptions. Those are pretty strong terms, but I'm going to describe it for you, defend it, and invite anyone who wants to dispute, criticize, or just discuss in a friendly manner this issue. So again, the title for today is Fact-Checking TMD and OSA, Part 7, The Discovery of Why TMD Gurus Promote the Relationship Between OSA and TMD. Frankly, there is no relationship. There is an association. But as you will find out, an old adage in medicine, that association does not prove causation. Let me repeat that. That is a very old adage all throughout medicine. Association does not prove causation. And that is what the OSA TMD gurus have been trying to do for quite some time. And this weekend, I found out why. I'm a little naive on some of these topics because I'm a scientist. I look at things very logically and primarily based on what I have observed personally in treating over, both surgically and non-surgically, well over 6,000 patients, roughly about, right now, about 5,000 non-surgically. And so we have to increase that to about 7,000, because I treated roughly 2,000 patients surgically over the first 36 years of my career and did every kind of TMJ surgery available at that time and currently, because there has not been any significant improvement in TMJ surgery since I quit doing TMJ surgery 14 years ago. So, number one, I am quite experienced in both surgical and non-surgical care of the TMJ patients. Not to brag, I don't need it. But here is what happened, and here is how I found out why there has been this major push by the TMD, quote, specialists. Now we have been encumbered by the ADA to call orofacial pain doctors specialists. And it is my contention that that was a very dumb move by the ADA, and that we definitely don't need orofacial pain specialists, because the vast majority, I can't quote what percentage, I'm not going to do a study on it myself, but I can tell you that the vast majority of patients with orofacial pain that is unrelated to, quote, easily identifiable dental problems or easily identifiable ENT problems, easily identified ENT problems, are related to the temporomandibular joint. And I have spoken on this on previous episodes, all the way back to the beginning. And today's episode is episode 190 on this episode series on TMD Demystified, which is published on Dental Town. So this is what I found out this weekend as to why there's been this push, and I couldn't quite figure it out, because episode number 172, I discussed the nuts and bolts, what I had discovered about the relationship or lack thereof of TMD to OSA, which was stimulated by a email I received from one of my colleagues who was trying to convince me that there is a relationship. So I had to take a deep dive into the literature, into the books, and see whether or not what my experience was and what my knowledge of was consistent with what other academicians have found about this relationship. And that was, so 72 to 90, we're talking 18 episodes. So that's roughly 4.5 months ago I did that. I'll let that stand alone and speak for itself. But here's what I found out this weekend. This weekend, I had the opportunity to speak on my topic, TMD Demystified, to one of the largest dental meetings in the United States of America, the Chicago Dental Society Midwinter Meeting, which was just last weekend, and I was invited to speak on my topic. Fortunately, it was extremely successful. Out of the 100 or so programs that was offered at the Chicago Midwinter Meeting, mine was one of just a very few. As I looked at it, only 3 or 4 of the programs that actually sold out. We filled a room with over 200 people. There were people waiting in the hallway to get in if there were seats available, with no shows. And I presented TMD Demystified, which again is described well throughout these 190 episodes on Dental Town, TMD Demystified. But after I presented, I had the opportunity to meet one of my colleagues at a social gathering and found out what I do, and she shared with me the following story. And it's pretty simple, and it's similar to many stories I heard before. First of all, she heard my lecture, wanted to talk with me, and said her sister, we will call the person I was talking to Mary, and Mary had a sister who had severe temporomandibular joint disorder and had had this problem and multiple symptoms for 20 years, and that the symptoms themselves were ruining her life and had literally devastated her to the point where she was, for the most part, non-functional as far as ability to work or enjoy her life. And she shared with me parts of the story at how many doctors she had seen. She had spent time down in Florida. She had seen people in South Carolina. She had seen people, practitioners in Missouri, and had gone to some of the bigger name clinics that you would easily recognize in the United States of America regarding her symptoms, looking for a solution, which she did not have. So Mary's sister, as Mary described, was eventually referred to what I will call a TMD guru in St. Louis, Missouri, who claimed that he was able to fix TMD patients with appropriate solutions. So she, again, the story was that she went to this doctor and he did a thorough workup, consultation, examination, and after he was finished, told Mary's sister that the reason that none of the other doctors were able to help her was that they did not recognize that Mary's problem was generated by her OSA, obstructive sleep apnea, that there was a relationship between OSA and which was causal for her TMD. And as soon as he received approval from the medical insurance companies to treat her OSA, that he would do that, which would have significant influence on the TMD, and then he could get on with treating the TMD, that there was a definite causal relationship. When I heard that, all the pieces fit together, and I went, oh my God, that is the reason that there has been such a big push for the past 10 years or more to try to prove through inappropriate science that there is a causal relationship between OSA and TMD and vice versa. The TMD has a causal relationship with OSA.